Okay, I want to give you guys a quick breakdown of the outcomes assessment that's coming up. Just as a reminder, the date for the character definition essay revise, otherwise known as your outcomes assessment submission, that's going to be due December 6th at 11 p.m., no later. It needs to go into the OA system, and it also needs to go in for reading and writing 10. And then you need to do a portfolio, and that portfolio is going to ask you to submit 4 essays. One of those essays, by the time you submit your OA, will have already been revised, and the other 3 you just need to revise after you submit the OA. Anyway, that portfolio is going to be due December 11th, and you just need to submit it into the OA, and then I can go into the system and verify that you submitted it, and I will give you credit for that. So the OA is important, and you need to make sure that you're taking it seriously, because I can't give you a letter grade at the end of the semester until you've passed the OA. So if you do not submit in the OA, you will fail the class. If you do not pass the OA, you will fail the class. So make sure you're taking it seriously. Make sure you're asking questions, especially when we meet throughout the next week. Send me emails. Do whatever you need to do to make sure that you are in line with the requirements for the OA. I am a resource, and so please use me. Don't just be out there and in some sort of cyberland and assume that no one cares or that it's too hard to talk. Whatever it is, you need to make it work. You need to ask the right questions, and it's your responsibility to make sure that you get this in. So anyway, here's a 6. It's basically broken down into 6 steps. They are relatively simple, albeit time consuming, and hopefully this will kind of help you understand how to attack the next week. The first thing you're going to want to do is you need to make sure that you go into Blackboard and you access all of your feedback. The first essay you need to access feedback for is the character definition essay, and you need to read my comments. If you have any questions about my comments, you need to email me. You need to ask me the question. If I'm not clear on something, let me know. I assume that you understand everything I say, and I don't know otherwise until somebody asks me a question. So if you're not sure what one particular sentence means on my feedback, then you need to ask me. If you got it, then you need to make sure you make all the necessary revisions, and you need to make sure that you have proper MLA. Okay. Also make sure that you are hitting the word count. Okay, the word count for the assignment, I believe, was 1,000 word minimum. These guys are looking, your OA readers, they're looking for 3 full pages. Okay, so you need to do whatever it takes to hit that word count. One thing that you need to add that probably 95% of you do not have is an extended definition paragraph. You had some notes, you had a chapter to read, I believe, in one of the weeks that talked about extended definition, and I know that that was part of your assignment, and most of you, for whatever reason, just pretended like that didn't exist. It does exist. It is key to the success of your essay, and so you need to go back and add that part in, okay? And then most importantly, stop fighting the man, okay? You have to do in-text citations. That will never change. You'll have to do it until the end of time as long as you're doing academic writing. So you need to get in the habit of doing them correctly, because it seems arbitrary, and I understand that it seems silly, and I agree with you, but that doesn't change the fact that it has to happen. So make sure you know those, okay? For character definition essay, this is, I literally Googled how to cite a television show MLA. Okay, the first thing it gave me was the Purdue OWL, which is great, but the second thing it gave me, the second listing, was this. Okay, and so you are responsible for looking things up. You don't have a textbook, which I understand you may feel like you're inhibited by doing it, but you are taking an online class, which means you have access to the web. Use it, okay? So you need to know the following things for your television show. You need to know the name of the episode. You need to know the pertinent personnel, okay? You need to know the name of the program. You need to know the name of the publisher or the sponsor. You need to know the name of the date that the show was the original broadcast. You need to know the title of the website, Hulu, YouTube, Netflix, Amazon, whatever it is. You need to know the format with which you watched it, and then you need to know the date you accessed it. The date you accessed it is not a huge, gigantic deal. I'm never going to know if you accessed it October 25th instead of October 26th. So if you don't know it, make something up, okay? But you need that date of access. And then your citation, your works cited format needs to look like this. This is non-negotiable, okay? There's no excuses. You can't claim ignorance, okay? I've given you tons of resources, and whether you looked at them or not is completely up to you. But now I know that you know it, okay? So here you have the episode title, okay? You have it in double quotes. You have the producer, the name of the producer, and then you have et al. Et al. Actually just means and others, so whoever the producer is, put the producer, first name, last name, and then put et al. Family Guy is the name of the show, or whatever the name of your show is. It needs to be in italics, and it also needs to be in italics for all of your essay. Okay. Broadcasting company, date it was published, right here. Source in which you accessed it, the medium by which you accessed it, and then the date you accessed it. Okay. Your works cited page needs to look like this, with the exception of your second source. And then you need to have a parenthetical reference. Okay, that's your in-text citation. The in-text citation is not the name of the show. It's not the name of the actor. It's not the name of the character. It is the name of the episode in double quotes, just like this. Please note where the period is. Okay, the period is not after the word up. The period is after the citation. If you looked at Purdue OWL, you would also know that that is the case. So make sure your MLA is correct, okay? And then once you have made all of the necessary revisions, you need to go back and you need to add a second source, okay? The outcomes assessment is looking for 2 sources. You should only have one in there, which should be your the show itself. If you have a dictionary definition in there as your extended definition, you need to remove it and give an actual definition, and then you need to find another source. Okay, that dictionary definition is not going to count as a second source. So it's up to you where to find it. This is when you kind of have to use your critical thinking skills, be creative, and find a place to add a second source. A good place to start is find a review of the show, look at IMDb, find an actor interview. Okay, just make sure you know how to cite it. Google is your friend. There are no excuses for not knowing how to cite something. Once you've figured out your source, you've added it, you've made the revisions, your MLA looks pretty, you need to format it accordingly, okay? The submission instructions for the OA are in Blackboard, week 14. Make sure you have your proper code in there. Do not put my name on it, okay? And save it as you need to. And then you're going to get ready to submit it, okay? You can't say yes, I just say K. Anyway, you need to get ready to submit it. So follow the submission instructions, okay? The website is englishoa.csi.edu. Okay, your username is your CSI ID. Password is your birth date. And then when you go into it, it will probably look a little something like that. Okay, you're going to hit submit the OA essay. You're going to hit choose file, find whatever file it is, okay, add it, and then you're going to hit submit. You're going to do the same thing for the portfolio, okay? So then you need to make sure you submit it as reading and writing 10, okay, right here. Don't just submit it to the OA. Submit it to me also, okay? And then once you've done all of that, you're going to get ready to do your portfolio. Your portfolio is due December 11th. You need to access the feedback for your ethnography, for your first essay response, and for your second essay response. Make all the necessary revisions, including if you need to add MLA to essay response 1, and you need to revise the MLA for essay response 2. Again, stop fighting the man on MLA. You just have to do it. You have to know it. You have to do it correctly, okay? If you go to the Purdue OWL, most of your sources you're going to find. If you go to the Purdue OWL, you go down to electronic sources. I'm pretty sure 90% of those essay response sources are going to be right here. An article in a web magazine, okay? Author's last name, author's first name, article title. Notice that it is not in italics, it is in double quotes, okay? This italics right here is the name of the publication. Date it was published, how you accessed it right here, and then the date you accessed it, okay? It's relatively straightforward. There should be no reason that these aren't done correctly. If you're not sure, ask me, okay? You also need to make sure that you have proper in-text citations in all of these, and so a couple things I want you to take note of. You'll notice that if the author's name is mentioned in the sentence, you do not need it in the parenthetical citation right here. If the author's name is not mentioned in the sentence, you need it in the parenthetical citation. I want you to note 2 things in this particular highlighted section that there is no comma between the author's last name and the page number, and also note that the period is not after the quotation mark, okay? The period is after the parenthetical citation. So many of you are putting it in the wrong place, and I think it's just because you think that it sort of looks like it may kind of be a little bit right. It's not. Okay, there's no excuse for not knowing it correctly. There's no excuse for not doing it correctly. You need to go back and make sure that it is done properly. These kinds of things matter when it comes to passing the OA, number one, and when it comes to academic writing. Okay, you have to know these citation styles. So stop resisting and just know it. Do it. And then let's see, make sure, remember, you don't put your name on anything, okay? You put your student code, don't put my name on anything. And then you're going to go to your portfolio submission, okay? Where did we have it? Right here, okay? Essay 1 is your ethnography. Essay 2 is your revised essay response 1. Essay 3 is your revised essay response 2. And then essay 4 is actually going to be your character definition essay that you've already revised and you've already submitted. So go ahead and get that done. Where did my thing go? Okay, right here. So make sure you do that by December 11th at 11 p.m. And additionally, do not forget to meet with me, okay? Go back into Blackboard. Your instructions for those meetings are in Blackboard. We'll be meeting in GoToMeeting. Make sure you know your time and bring me questions and have a good plan of how you're going to fix these essays and get everything squared away.